So, a YouTube series. Have you ever had just like a really bad idea but decided to go for it? Hello, and welcome to the Thriftington Post. My name is Lantis, and this is the first episode. I guess first of all, I should say what this is all about. The Thriftington Post is a show about games in general, an opinion show. It was going to be an opinion news show where I just go through a bunch of different articles and see what's interesting on this day and then report it all, but that takes work. So then I realized, oh, I can just pick a topic and talk about that, and then I only have to know about one thing. And knowing one thing per week isn't that difficult, so hey, that's perfect for me. And also, even though this show is about WoW, hopefully not too many of them will be about WoW. That is the game I'm usually playing, and the topics will surround whatever I'm currently playing. In this case, World of Warcraft. The news of flex rating just came out, so I thought that would be a good first topic to start on. So, flex rating. It is the big unannounced feature that Ghostcrawler mentioned a while back and has been hyped for him for a long time. That's the first thing I noticed whenever flex rating was announced was, oh, this is what they've been hyping? And side note, that's also what he said whenever he first mentioned that there was a big unannounced feature, so that some people would be like, oh my god, this is amazing, and others would be like, this is it, really? So, I mean, Ghostcrawler warned us about that, and since then he's been trying to say, look, there's actually a bunch of new stuff coming out at 5.4, just pick one of them and say that's the unannounced feature, you know? So there's other stuff than this that's yet to be announced, but we just don't know what it is yet. But we know about this, so everyone's clinging on to that as, oh, this is what is coming. Well, so it is what is flex rating? It's a flexible raid size, 10 to 25 people. You can, however many people you can get together in a night, just bring them in, and the difficulty will scale to that size. That's why they call it flex rating, flexible raid size. But this, of course, immediately got some people saying, well, what about 7 or 8 player support? What if we can't get 10 people? And honestly, I mean, they've came out since then with the Q&A saying, well, we thought that we'd be able to let you enter with 8 people, which makes me think, oh, great, this is going to be like heroic scenarios, so you get the people together, then queue in for it. So you're not actually going to be going to the raid instance, and automatically I actually don't like that. I think part of what's enjoyable about raiding is going to the place. And then I think of Throne of Thunder right now, and that's actually really obnoxious to run over to. So maybe I will like this feature once it's actually in the game. But once I'm actually doing it, and I do intend to do it, I think that flex rating is ideal for me. I've been trying to go casual since MOP came out. It just hasn't been working out that way. Regardless, people saying that it needs to be able to accommodate 8 or fewer people, that's probably just because they've been raiding 10-man, and they notice that 1 or 2 people are missing all the time, and they're always having to pug one extra person or ask someone to come in that doesn't usually raid. And honestly, I think that they're 1 or 2 short because they're only keeping about 10 people on their roster. I mean, it takes more than 10 people to run a 10-player raid. It takes more than 25 to run a 25-player raid. But people don't realize this, and so they try to stay right there on the nose of how many people they need, and then they just don't have people for the raid that night. So if it can support 8 players, then they're going to try to keep 8 on the nose, and they're going to only have 6 or 7 show up, or 5. And I'm saying this because I started trying to do challenge modes a while back, and so you need 5 people for that. So I got 5 people that could do challenge modes, and we've almost never been able to get all 5 of us on at the same time to run them. So even a 5-player requirement is hard to keep up with unless you actually have more than the number of people that you're trying to work with. Right now, Heroic Scenarios just came out. That requires 3 people. One of the 3 people that I started running them with has been gone for over a week now. So, you know, I'm really thinking eventually it's going to be solo content, and I won't be available to play. I can see that coming. So 10 to 25 should be fine. That there's also a balancing issue to keep in mind, that if you want your raids to not be terrible, you with really, really basic, simple mechanics, you need to have a base number of people. And that's also why Blizzard has said that they want to maintain a minimum number of healers and tanks to be assumed to be in the raid at the time. Because if you get less than, say, 2 healers, then in order for them to accommodate that, they would have to really turn down the damage that the bosses do so that 1 healer can actually keep everyone up, or no healers. And that would be a really weak boss if just, you know, warlock cookies or health pots can keep the raid alive. You know, run away from the boss for a second and bandage up, run back in, you're good to go. So yeah, flex rating will have to have at least 10 people, minimum number of DPS, tanks, healers, all that. So, but also the idea is for it to bring pugs back to the pugging back to server, because since really Wrath of the Lich King, pugs has been a dying breed. Just because with Cataclysm they tried to make 10-player as hard as 25-player, and you know, even whether they came close to it or not, whether it's harder, that's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that they made it much harder than it was in Wrath of the Lich King. So if you want to just get a group of random people together and go into 10-player, they'll just, like right now, they'll just wipe on Stoneguard forever. They'll just wipe on Genrock. So am I looking forward to it? Well, I already said that I do plan on giving it a shot. I think it's ideal for me. I would like to go casual. I would like to just sort of pug raids occasionally. LFR is not quite my cup of tea because LFR really just has a battleground effect on me. Like, I just feel like I'm queuing in and there happens to be other people, but really I'm just sort of doing my own thing. And anytime that another person is required, it's obnoxious. Like on Iron Quan, when you get stunned, and you will be stunned for the full duration. What is it, 20 seconds, 25? You'll just sit there stunned because you need one other person to run over and click on you. And no matter how many times you furiously type, I am stunned, come over here and click on me, I'm stunned, I'm stunned. Hello, anyone. Can someone help me? They won't. They'll ignore this. They're not looking at chat, or if they are, they'll just have no idea what you're talking about because they don't really know the fight. But I'm thinking with flex rating, I'll actually be able to have that raid experience without having to have all the dedication to always being there for every single raid night and always having to schedule my life around the game. This is a way in which I can actually be casual, as in schedule the game around my life. If I can get on and someone's shouting up a group, I can be like, hey, that sounds like fun. I'll get in there, kill a few bosses, get a few achievements, won't have to deal with LFR. Except that brings us to the fact that I still will be doing LFR because it doesn't share a lockout with LFR. It doesn't even share a lockout with normal. And that's actually really bad. And the main reason why I'm not so much looking forward to this, because not sharing a lockout with normal or heroic means that there is a lot of other stuff for people to do. People that are already trying to do everything in their power to get all the character power they can, to make sure that they're not holding their group back, to get every last scrap of gear that's possibly available to them. They'll want to be doing this on the side. So now, even if you're in a normal mode raid group, you're going to want to do your LFR and you're going to want to look for your pug raid. Or if you're really unlucky, your group is just going to say, hey, let's add an extra night to the schedule so that we can do this pug raid with our normal mode group, just so we can get this gear that's in between the item level of LFR and normal. This could help us out on our normal mode runs or whatever. And that's going to be really obnoxious. What would actually be worse than that, though, is if they cancel a current raid night just to say, well, this is going to be your pug raid night now, so now you're progressing through normals even slower. So that's all kinds of bad things that can happen if this doesn't share lockouts with anything else. And I get why Blizzard's doing this. They want to bring back pugs, and if they bring back pug raiding, they want as many people as possible to be available to actually join those things, possibly trying to get normal raiders in there to coach other players through. That's a possibility, though that goes against one of their stated intents, is that this is supposed to be easy puggable content for like friends and family guilds that sort of died out from the raiding scene when Cataclysm came. But, you know, maybe just one of those underlying ideas that they have. But really, if you're a normal mode raider or heroic raider, you'll still very likely have alts, and you can use your alts to go and do your pug raids. I think that would be good. But what wouldn't be good is if you're doing that on your alts and on your main and LFR on everyone, plus normal on your main on top of all of that. And that's just nuts. So, yeah, you should probably just not do it on your alt. Because if you're already doing everything on your main, then you're just going to be burned out so quickly. Not to doomsay on this too much. I do have high hopes for it. I just think that it shouldn't share that lockout. And besides that, I can't think of any particular gripe about it. I mean, yeah, it does kind of further muddy the system with item levels, because its item level does come between LFR and normal. So you're going to have, you know, LFR, flex rating, normal upgraded, possibly something like Thunderforge normal upgraded, then heroic upgraded, heroic Thunderforge. And if they bring back elite, then you could have Thunderforge heroic elite 2 of 2 upgraded. It's going to be a real mess, but I mean, that doesn't really mean anything, right? Really, ultimately you're just going to be looking at your item level and saying, hey, I have progressed this much, and regardless of how many individual steps there are, that's not so bad unless you are unlucky and you just happen to end up like winning the, let's say, LFR pants, and then you have to gem and enchant those, and then you get it from flex rating, and then you get it from normal, and you just keep winning the exact same pair of loot from each of the difficulties in order. That's a lot of pants enchants. So that pretty much wraps up this episode. If you would like to get in touch with me, you can leave a comment below, or you can contact me on Twitter at Lantis Armstrong. That's LANTISARMSTRONG. And that's it for the show. I'll see you later.